Hey guys, Jet Garner here with shortfilmtexas.com. Welcome to Jettisode number 4. We're into the midst of April. I apologize, it has taken me a couple weeks to get back with you all. Busy with life, obviously, as we all are, especially this time of the year. Couple things I want to cover today. We've received an email that I want to touch base on through shortfilmtexas.com from what I guess is a former soldier who served in Iraq, based on his question. He's got actually a couple questions, and I'm going to address those. But the first thing I want to dive into is a film that by now you're all very much aware of, as it cleaned house at the Golden Globes and the Academy Awards. I haven't touched base on this in any of my webisodes or Jettisodes or any of my podcasting, just because everyone in the world was talking about it, and I wanted to spend a little time with it and reflect upon it. Slumdog Millionaire, I saw in the theater 2 times in November and December, I think, of 2008. And then my wife and I actually just rented it. Actually, we purchased the DVD and watched it again this weekend. You know, I've been a bit of a film aficionado, or fan aficionado, whatever you want to call it, my entire life. I love movies. They were a huge part of my childhood, a huge part of my teenage years, college years, and as an adult and now a father and a husband, they remain so. So I have, as far as the 70s, 80s, 90s, and our current decade that we're in, I've seen most films that have been on the main American radar, and in the last 15 years or so, the European radar as well. So I have a lot of opinions. As a fan, as someone who's been in the business a little bit, Slumdog Millionaire is a perfect film. The first time I saw it, I was laughing and crying in the same film. And the movie is perfect on every level. The only other film I can say that about that I've ever watched that is absolutely perfect on every level is The Godfather Part 1, for me. I love lots of other films, but those are the only 2 movies that I can watch and not think in my mind, oh, there's a little something here or there I would change. So if you haven't watched Slumdog Millionaire, it is an English film. The story, the language is English for the most part. But it is an absolutely joy to watch, and it's a lesson in filmmaking, writing, editing, acting, using actors that we as Americans aren't familiar with. I don't think if you're a real film buff, you would know a couple of the Indian actors because they've been in some American films, but for the most part, it's a completely unknown cast with, to most Americans, an unknown director about an unknown country, India, and it hits on every level. So, if you haven't seen Slumdog, go out and see it. Okay, here's the email, and unfortunately, I do not have this gentleman's name, but he emails us from San Antonio. Basically, he talks about serving in Iraq recently. He's no longer in the armed forces, and he has stories he wants to tell. He wants to act, he wants to direct, he wants to write, he wants to produce. He wants to put his experiences in Iraq into an artistic concept. And he just has questions. Where do you begin? Where do you begin with all these things? And so I will draw upon my experiences quickly. Hopefully you will find these. First of all, thank you for your service to this country. Whether we as artists and citizens of this country agree with the war or not, your sacrifice is honored and respected, my friend. And thank you for tuning in to shortfilmtexas.com as well. So basically, I can only tell you how I did it. And I started out taking acting classes back home in Indiana. Such a cliche phrase. I took acting classes here. I started auditioning and doing student films through the University of Texas, doing some theater here. I mean, you have to decide, what do you want to do? And at first, all I wanted to be was an actor. And after a couple years of that, I really got tired of working on projects that were never finished, or they were cruddy in the end. And you know, if you feel confident about your work as an actor in the project, but the film doesn't have legs to stand on regardless, you don't want to show it to anyone. So at that point I thought, well, I'll start writing scripts. So I started writing short films based on things that happened to me in my life. And obviously those things I exaggerated them for dramatic effect and interesting storytelling. And then I started handing those scripts to people, to directors. Some of them did well with those scripts. Some, again, not finished, not done to what I would expect to be the level I would expect if I were doing it. So then I started directing. and I did a little of directing actors. I did a little of directing actors with me in the project, and that offers complete control. And through that, you learn how to edit. I mean, it really is an art form that you can teach yourself. However, at first, you do need to take an acting class or a screenwriting class or, a camera class, a film camera class. You have to make some contacts and you have to get some experience on someone else's set, either directing, writing, acting, producing, editing. You have to get some experience, some little network going to get the ball rolling. And once you get the ball rolling and you start feeling confident in all of these areas, directing, writing, editing, acting, then you can start doing your own thing. It doesn't cost money if you do it all yourself. And if your story is compelling enough, folks will work on it for free. So again, guys, fans across the world, thank you for tuning in to shortfilmtexas.com. Thank you to all of our veterans who have served at any period in history in any war. And also, once again, if you haven't seen it yet, which I'm sure most of you have, watch Slumdog Millionaire as much as you can, because it's not only an emotional journey, and a wonderful journey at that, but it's also, if you want to be in the film business, it's a perfect movie. There's nothing flawed about it. Peace out. Take care.